am entropy. I am death. I am dark side.
From the ashes they will rise in a world of dark sides, twisted lies. Absolute DC, where darkness reigns. With science breaks the chains. Gather round, hear the call. Diving deep will explore it all. Absolute with science. Absolute with science.
The Elseworld has changed and risen to become the absolute universe. May the presence have mercy on our souls. I'm Krypton's ruling upper class, Eric Shea.
And I'm Jim Warner.
And this is the Absolute Weird Science episode number 9.
Number 9. For some reason, I thought it was 10. There's always something I mess up when I do these things. I don't know why. It doesn't even make sense in my mind now that I think about it. We have 3 books.
3 issues of each.
10? Oh, my goodness gracious. Hey, everybody. Here we are for episode 9. And we have Absolute Superman. And over the past week, after doing our Absolute Wonder Woman, I realized that these books are very special to some people. And if you don't give it perfect scores, they get angry, Eric. But that's not what we end up doing. But in that, though, this one is the one. At one point, it seemed like it was Absolute Wonder Woman that people were initially like, "Oh, I'm not going to like that because Kelly Thompson." But some people gave it a shot, and actually, lo and behold, a lot of people are starting to like it even more each issue. A couple of people end up. My man Matthew, who didn't like it at all at first, my man. He actually said in the comments of last week, he's like, I'm kind of getting into it. And the thing is, he's like leapfrogged us now. He likes it more than us somehow. And then was kind of saying that. But he ended up, and it was me and him were talking. And in that first issue, I think it took a lot of people a little time to get used to the idea that Wonder Woman, even though she's in hell, she's bringing the softer side with it and making hell a better place to live. Because as Pet Benatar said, hell is for children, Eric. But in the meantime, why I'm bringing that up is that it suddenly is that Absolute Superman is the book that people are saying, oh, this is the dud and this isn't the one that I like. And it does have another bit of a slower pace type deal, which will continue this issue. But I mean, I'll reveal that I didn't mind this issue. There's some real interesting things. I just think that Jason Aaron himself has to get into telling a story that doesn't feel like an outline to me, but we'll see what you think. So
we got to get into
it.
The idea of the origins of Superman, though. You can't do that without Krypton exploding.
Yeah, well, and that's my problem, though, usually. And again, when you talk to people and like, hey, what do you know, Superman? You like him? Oh, I love Superman. I've read so much Superman. Hey, what do you know about Krypton? Oh, it exploded. That's really what, and Cal, left. He's going a little more deep dive.
Exactly. And you have to for this series because Cal left as an older, teenager. So you have to know what experiences on Krypton forged who he is now that he's on Earth.
Yeah. Again, though, I think I've already gotten it. I mean, I think, and we're still not completely off Krypton, and I think I get it. I think that I see, and some of it actually to me feels as if the L's are a little bit, I don't know. I don't like their parenting as much as I would love, Eric. And I think that some of it will be, and as we talk about it, I'll end up telling you about some things and saying, because we know what the L's are, we know Superman's good, I think that you tend to kind of, see it a different way, that if we didn't know, I think we would be a little confused at points of, are these good guys? Are they good? Are they doing this? How is it playing out? I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But I'll tell you what I mean when we get into it. But do you have the credits and we'll hit into it?
Absolute Superman number 3, written by Jason Aaron with art by Rafa Sandoval, Ulysses Areola, and Becca Carey. And like you said, we spent a lot of time on Krypton in this issue, watching young Kal-El grow up 6 years prior to his, present day on Earth. And you get to see that he is not the academic child that you think he might be, coming from what you know from the science-focused Jor-El and Lara from regular Prime, like the Earth Zero Krypton that we know in main continuity. and he's not really athletic. He's not really anything you would think of as a Superman here. He is a man who wants to forge his own path, and he keeps getting in trouble in school because they have the AI algorithm that they want you to have write your reports. But he's a free thinker. He wants to write his own reports, tell you his words, and the teachers, they don't like that very much.
No, they don't. And again, we've had this. We had it already. They're reinforcing it. This time, though, you're going to get, the mother and father involved a little more, Jor-El and Lara. But again, we know that Krypton explodes. So some of the things, and this is what I'm talking about while we're on Krypton, the idea that they are really pushing Cal like, man, go for it, my man. Go and do this. Like, you'll get arrested and maybe we'll never see you again. But you say your truth. But it doesn't, to me, I think that Jason Aaron is leaning too heavy on the idea that really it doesn't matter because we know that Krypton is about to explode. So it really doesn't matter. That it kind of gets to me at this point. Well, at this point in time, though, when Jor-El and Lara are telling him, it's not even the idea of being get arrested, just forge your own path because you're a caring kid that we know will do the right thing in the end. Jor-El is still drastically trying to make sure that his hypothesis is correct. He's going to the freaking Ral Mountains and like digging in to make sure that his hypothesis about Krypton's the demise is accurate. I mean, and we see within 2 seconds, in this book that shit's gone wrong. I mean, the animals are dying. You have the Krypton, the kryptonite gas, it seems like coming up. So I think that he's pretty much like on the up and up, like, hey, yeah, this is going down. But like I said, in the meantime, you do have Cal, and it is funny. Like, he's really like just nothing. He's not smart enough. He says it a weird play, and I think that there might be something later about it. The idea that he says that, and Cal through his own thing saying, there was something, I wasn't good at school. But it seems like he might be like on the spectrum. I don't know. It seemed a little weird the way that he said it. It wasn't just the idea of like, hey, I wasn't good with this, or I wasn't down with this. It did seem a lot like there was something else going on. But again, he ends up where, and I know that they want Cal to be his own person. Hey, do what you want to do. But one of the things that I might have pushed Cal, me being a great father that I am, would be the idea of, listen, you don't like the way the Science Council is going. They don't. I mean, Jor-El and Lara. But Cal himself, he's like, they're not letting me. Maybe there's the play of, do some stuff, get in the set, and you could change it from within. Maybe the new generation of Kryptonians might be able to change it. Maybe Cal might be one of those who could do it. But they're just like, I don't mind them supporting their son, but at the point where they get to the, he's going to be arrested. If Krypton isn't going to be exploded, he was going to be arrested. And I don't know. Like I said, I think we'll disagree with some of the things. But when Lara, by the end, says, okay, lock and loaded, let's go. It's weird that she takes Cal. He's a little kid and she's going to storm the government.
Well,
whether or not, well, again, that's still a little kid. They're going to take down the government. She's going to shoot people, whether or not they're good or bad.
Going in to jailbreak Jor-El out of like a jail cell.
Who broke the law? This is the thing that gets me, though. But again, if this would be me saying that Tanya ended up getting arrested, and I think she's in the right, and I go and say, come on, Rafe, let's go and break her out, start shooting everybody, I wouldn't be looked as a good person. But because we know it's the L's and Superman, I think that that's where Jason Aaron kind of gets away with it a bit. It just kind of felt weird. Do you have
evidence that the ruling class is going to let everybody die, and then you could stop all of this, but they won't let you?
He didn't have it then. He didn't have that then.
At that point, he did. He went to them to say it, and they wouldn't see him. No,
Cal found the evidence that they had. He didn't have the evidence.
He found that whole, but like Jor-El went to go speak to the Science Council.
He's still doing things. He's still breaking the law. Again, if
through conspiracy.
If I thought that, global warming and I decide to storm the Capitol, I'm arrested. I'm put in jail and I'm not looked at as a hero. I think that the play is, though, that's the problem. This book, we know we know what happens. We know what's going to happen. And you go by that. So I don't know why we're spending so much time doing it. I just think they should have been off Krypton by now. And the ending ended up having a pretty cool ending. But in the meantime, I don't know. I don't like Jor-El, and I think Lara is a bitch. I think that she's she's going to murder people. I mean,
she is going to get her husband out shooting lava guns at people because she is trying to make sure that people on Krypton are saved.
Yeah, but the people who... So what about the people like me and you are just working there as cops? We're there as guards. They don't know. They don't even seem to know that the ruling class is gone. They're left behind just as much. And
Sounds like you're a slave to the upper ruling class, Jim, if you ask me.
No, I'm saying that the idea of this is that we know what's going to go on. That, like, what happens if after all this, like, the big twist is, oh, that was just a tremor, nothing happened. And by the way, that was just a dupe. It threw me off. The idea that Cal is learning that, oh, if you don't agree, you just go root and toot and shoot, and instead of, kind of working the system. But there is no system now because, again, Krypton's it's just going to blow up. I mean, there's a couple.
It's going to blow up,
and
there's some cool stuff with the aspect because instead of sending Cal on a lone rocket to Earth to make sure that their one baby boy is okay, they have built a ship in the meantime to hold as many people as they can. Not everybody, obviously. It's not like a gigantic arc of any kind. Like our cousins, our family, and anybody else we can get. We're going to get on this freaking ship and we're going to get out of here because in the meantime, the upper ruling class, with the data that Jor-El has already collected, and like they've said, oh no, everything is fine. They have decreed as well. Oh my God, Krypton's going to blow up. Let's build all of these spaceships that we had no freaking interest in previously.
Like they must have been
and we're
doing
get the upper ruling class up here.
Yeah, maybe they even knew before. It seems like they had those are big ships, but there's a couple things too. Those people aren't making it. There's going to be a thing. I almost guarantee that ship is going to get hit by something, whether or not it's an attack by the upper ruling class, and then there'll be an escape pod that'll be exactly like the pod that Cal usually goes to Earth.
I kind of hope that we do have the situation, because it almost comes along the line of an upper ruling class, like Phantom Zoner situation, where you have the last son of Krypton, because we don't know what's going to happen to the rest of the L ship that they're going to collect as many people as they can, because all we know for certainty right now from the main present day stuff is that Superman is out there alone by himself with his AI soul. So we know that something's going to go wrong, but I like the idea of all these other Kryptonians being out there who are real just dickheads, and we got to worry about what they're going to do because they let their own planet explode and they're going to let people die. And
I say to you about this of me getting upset at Jor-El and Lara, when Cal actually goes and sees that, I thought that was a great twist. I thought that was something I never thought, and I thought, boy, yeah, if you really, but again, what happens to them? And, all that, maybe they end up being almost like the Phantom Zone villains, later on.
Something like that, or even the idea of the bottle city of Kandor, just an Argo city that's sitting out there but you have pretty much a populace full of dickheads who are entitled the entire time who think they're right.
Yeah, and even if it's like they disappear and where are they? That could come up later where they end up coming to Earth and saying, how dare you? Now, Earth. There's a big universe. I don't know if you know that, Eric. It's very vast, is what they say. I think
the galaxy's
I think Captain Kirk might say that. But again, that the ruling class could end up wherever. It doesn't mean they're going to go to Earth, but eventually they may end up hearing of Cal, and then they're like, that little brat. That guy I love the idea too, where he's getting his itch for doing his reporting. I'm like, you don't have to waste time. Just get the hell out of there. But he ends up where that happens.
It was kind of a big deal that you'll release the information that the ruling upper class of Krypton are going to screw everybody over.
That he's like, I think that they're full of shit. I saw a lot of dead fish.
The idea when they're actually going on the field trip, and he just starts reporting himself for his own school paper before the school is like, look, let's delete this. Let's delete all the backup files because we can't have this free-thinking kid doing stuff like this.
And then I realized what had happened is he was correct in that narrate. He's a moron. The idea that he's like, I didn't realize it, and I put it up on the board. I'm like, yeah, that happens to me on Twitter a lot. I say, but also when you say this, the only thing that I could think of in this issue, and I should have thought about it before, and we talk a lot about The Simpsons and things like that. It's when Lisa decides to be a vegetarian and they're hitting that free thought button under the desk where they're like, oh, we have 2 free thoughts in one day. But you end up where Cal is going, and we see how he was raised. But even in that, I just see that, he's a man of the land. He loves
sure is.
He gets his
loves
hands
that land that he was born
and
into.
All I can think of is the idea of okay, we get it. We saw him in the Blood Diamond Mines. We get it, but we'll see how this plays out.
The Mountains of Rao.
The one deal when they say, listen, and they go camping as they usually do, but at this point, Jor-El has a little bit more involved. He's doing some research. Also, they're also trying to get these sunstones, and he's stealing that. I don't like that either, Eric. Stealing.
Oh my God!
But with that all going,
you are a snitch who was going to turn him in the first chance you get for better freaking treatment.
Oh my God! Damn
you
right,
are the worst person ever in any movie.
Worst. And then I'm like, why didn't they take me? I'm in Die Hard. I'm like,
if
listen
this podcast is Django Unchained, you'd be Steven.
I was, what's his name? In Die Hard. Listen, babe, here we go. Hey, come on, John, just give them what they want.
Come on,
you have
booby,
all this
baby,
going
Bubba.
on. Booby, baby. Do you have, Crypto there, and they go camping, and Cal talks how he likes this and all that. And with that, his dad's a little distracted, but they do say, hey, come over here, kid. Listen, we ended up getting, we got to go talk to your teachers and this. And he's like, oh, crap. He almost seems like he's crying. And they're like, you know what we have to say? It's so dramatic. It's so forced, though. It's like, you know what? You know what we say about a son of ours having free thought? You know what it is? Keep doing it, buddy. I'm like,
pretty cool.
It's so forced. And he's like,
because
really?
you know what, Cal? Your mother and I, we were really screwed over by the Science Council over and over again. If you think that you don't need to be a part of that, we're right there with you, because what's the point? Because they're going to screw you over anyway, just like your old mom and pa.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, listen, it did so much for us. You see how well respected we are. And in fact, if I didn't do what I did, I could walk right in and I'd be on the science. Maybe I could have saved people, but he's going the route that they're going.
He would be executed if he was on the Science Council and tried to save people.
Well, maybe he would have gotten his family to be on that ship. Also, there's Cal, and they're like, I don't know what you're going to do, but just do it. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what I want to do either, but whatever it is, they're like, all right, enough of this. I'm busy.
We got work to do, kid. I know it's camping and all, but go sit there with a fire with your mother and your dog. Daddy's got work to do. You don't got time for your problems. You're pontificating in dreams.
I'm telling you, all I can think of throughout this is you have him in the background, like, then I'm going to do this, and I might do that. They're like, did he shut up yet? Somebody shut this kid up.
That's his plan to explode. I can't wait.
That's why. But yeah, he ends up and he's like, I want to be right here. And then they're like, oh, crap. And look at how smug he is. Like he's in this, it almost feels like he is talking and saying things like any kid. He is a little older, but any kid does. Like, this is what my mom and dad want to hear. And then you mess up, and then they smack you, Eric, right in the face. They smack you
even
hard.
The idea where you think he's a little bit on the spectrum or whatever you want to have it for, like Krypton. I just think he isn't just like what Krypton material. He's just not like, college material, as you want to call it, whether it be sports or academics. He is a dreamer. But the idea is, he likes his land. He likes the pseudo farm area, almost like a mom pa Ken situation in Smallville, Kansas, but on Krypton. And his best friends, they're right there with him. There's his mom and dad. I'm like, the kid doesn't get out. He has no friends. He's awkward as shit.
I hope he's not Dreamer, because then he might start dating his son in the other universe. That would be weird.
It's a weird thing to say like that.
Really odd. But no, I think that Jason Aaron is pushing the idea, almost like it's a weird play, but in the Percy Jackson, where, I'm dyslexic, but it's because my brain's in tune to doing Greek, right, and stuff like that. So it seemed a little weird. Again, you're pushing the idea of, look at little meek, Cal, because he's going to become Superman. I think a lot of the things he's doing, it's because you obviously know what's going to happen. Any writer would, but this is different. This is where we know he's going to be Superman. Some of the things just seem a little forced, is what I kind of meant throughout that. But he says, Daddy ain't so good. Like, Daddy, after that trouble in the mine, he's been doing things. And I love the idea, too, where he says,
automatic.
This is, again, he is. But again, they don't have a lot of time. So they're trying to do this. Obviously, they want to save not only just them, Cal, but some neighbors as well. But you end up in cousins, they say, of course.
Family, yeah.
I love what they say, cousins. But you end up where
Cal... You got to get a Supergirl.
Cal keeps walking in. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. My mom, she's been like building something. When we see this thing this thing is humongous. And he's walking and he's like, yeah, she's building something. At one point, did it get that huge that he's like, oh, crap, that's a lot of something. But he's just like, because even later he kind of says, oh, I know what you want. You want me to get mom's suit and stuff. It's quite bigger than that. But then he says, and then Dad, he's bringing this work home with him. That was kind of funny. That was almost like the idea
of Ma's suit when you do see it, when she does the whole jailbreak to get Jor-El out of prison. Because when you see it, it is this whole armored up kind of suit, symbiote, kind of a spawn costume, whatever you want to do. It is the sole AI that you have, and you have all that red dust that makes up the cape. You even have Crypto have a little bit, so you get Crypto with the red cape. It looks really good right there. But I just wish it just was a little bit more Eradicator about it for the main continuity when you see her, because she just looks like a dark-looking demon, like with the armored up over her head and stuff like that. I just want those big old goofy yellow sunglasses, something like a visor, just to look. It looks badass. It's totally absolute universe about it. A lesser hope, like Dark Side universe. It makes sense, but I just wanted to have a little bit more of that Krypton flavor.
I mean, seriously, it looks like the black racer with an S emblem on it. That's what it looks like a lot.
And no skis.
I will. Yeah, really, you don't need those skis. I do tell you that when she's like, I'm going to go get back your dad, and she has a gun that makes Rob Liefeld, envious. The idea where it does remind me of every time Lois picks up a gun in any sort of event or whatever. Pretty sexy, though. But in that, you end up where, things are going bad. They end up where Cal, he puts this report out. One of the one-lines that was so cringe. He's like, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, but I like to write because the words, they're special to me, but their words, they're just words. Like,
exactly.
Just stop it. But you end up
Come on, that's no cringier than the idea in Absolute Wonder Woman when they have the word Amazon has been banned, but Wonder Woman, little young Diana, she knows what. Just say it, Diana. What is that word in your mind? Again, Amazon. Say
that
it
might
again.
Be cringy, but the idea of you don't get it, Mom and Dad. The words that I write, they're special.
He's an awkward little kid whose best friends are his mom and dad. What do you want from him?
And a dog. I'm telling you, it's me, 6th grade. I'm like, this dark poetry special. It's really good.
Tony, he's really sitting in his room playing D&D by himself while his dog watches.
Yeah, he's got no friends. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't play D&D. He reads the modules like
exactly.
Me. Like, oh my God, that would be great if we would play this ever. Right, friends? It's nobody. But it's also, again, there's going to be some coincidence here where he's on a field trip. He seems to be separated from the group, but he's just looking out the window. Man, who would want to work up this high up? Oh, what's going on? Oh, Dad's being arrested. He turns around and his dad. I mean, I know for a fact
classic field trips.
I mean, you've had this happen at least 3 times in your life, but that's not everybody.
Sometimes your family members get arrested in front of people.
I will tell you that all I thought of was the story that you told me that when the police were around or whatever, your mom was running around with that pink cowboy hat on, making a fool of herself.
No. That's when the cops were pulling me over in my parents' neighborhood when I was coming by after work, and I wanted to try to get away from the bus stop that my parents, because my mom was picking up my sister and my brother for the bus stop, and I just wanted to drive away from that. The cop thought I was running, so he's chasing after me. I go like a block and a half away. He's probably he thinks I'm running at that point. He tells me but then he realizes because all the kids are across the street saying, "Eric's getting arrested! Eric's getting arrested!" And my mom comes up with that pink cowgirl hat. He's like, "I am so sorry. I thought you were running, but I understand why you were doing what you're doing now."
Yeah. Your mom didn't say that. The cop said it.
Yep.
I ended up where one time going back to work
after she tried to bribe him.
Yeah, with favors. I ended up going through. I didn't, but they said I went through that 4-way stop that we would have to go back and forth to work, and I ended up where I didn't want to just pull over because there was no shoulder there, and I ended up going up to the next thing, and the cop gun drawn. He thought I was running. I'm like, I'm not. It was weird.
You're sure you can character. He has to take care of himself.
So. He's like, how does
you
this
were breaking
homeless
the law?
guy?
Obviously, he deserves to lock you up because you were breaking the law, Jim.
But what you're saying though is that I should have shot him with a lava gun. I get it. I didn't do anything wrong.
If you were in the right, yes, and you're trying to save the world,
I didn't do anything wrong.
Yes,
and I was trying to save the world one podcast at a time at that point. But you end up where Cal ends up freaking out. He's yelling. Jor-El gets a baton deal, an electric baton stunner to the side of the head. He's up and says, "Go and get your mom. Get your mom." And he's yelling, "Get away from my dad."
Because that bitch crazy. She'll get me out, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, first off, he's like, "Listen, Cal, you're a wimp." Again, all this book does is remind me of me and you, or you and your dad. The idea you're throwing the ball and you're like, that didn't work. But yeah, he ends up, "Get your mom." Cal tries to fight back. He just gets pushed down. He's like, "You're nothing." And then he goes to get Lara, and she's there with.
But another cool thing
Krypton.
Before we get back to Lara is these soldiers that the police of this, Krypton that we're dealing with, the emblems they have on their chest. Because we've seen a bunch of different things so far with the different emblems and what they mean. These ones look like the classic kind of Zod look. So it's kind of cool.
They look like the Zod.
General Zod emblem is the military,
you would think
the police.
That he's like the police, the state police, stuff like that. Probably a jerk, right? I would guess. Yeah. Remember we had middle management that had the M on that. That was the worst thing. You don't need to do that, but goes back and gets Lara. She says, "Okay, let's go," and arms herself up, gets the suit that comes on, and they go for the attack. Krypto's going. Now Krypto has his, the cape as well, but
dust.
I guess the dust cape gives you some powers. It did throw me off a bit because at one point it does look like Krypto comes flying in and just does a lot of damage, but it must just be the cape itself. I think that was a weird play again because he wouldn't be powered up, but he has the cape, and ends up where Laura says, "Go find, Daddy, go find Jor-El," and he does. And he's like, "Oh," and he's like, "Don't tell me Laura's that much of an idiot to come." No, listen, buddy, you told your son to go get her. Like, what did you think? What he was going to go and say? Oh my God, Mom, they have Dad, and she's going to be like, "All right, the neighbor's pretty hot." Like she's going to move on. I don't know what he thought, but yeah, she's coming in to kick ass and has that deal, and it almost is like the test run. It seems, kind of that. He says, "Guess the suit works." Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, everybody's dead. They work great." And the one thing though, she ends up getting them with the lava gun, and you have that thing that drives me nuts in comics where she runs away, and then the one guy looks like he is just complete. He looks like Freddy Krueger. He should. And he's like, "It was lava." I'm like, "You should be dead. That shit that was going down on you."
I should be dead, but I'm not. Kill me.
The guy just, because the one guy's like, "I don't know. The gun was shooting. What was it?" And the guy's like, "It was lava. It was lava. I have it all over me, you jerk." And I'm like, these guys have to be dead, but you don't want to show that. So they go and they're going to kill Jor-El, and that has to be.
That's what happens when you arrest the wrong man, Jim. You'd get the lava dead.
I mean, and again, I'm kind of not joking, but it is the freedom fighter versus terrorist deal. It depends on how you're looking at it. And again, we know who's in the right, but we only know, again,
and you're a snitch for the government, so you see terrorists.
But I'm saying I'd be there. I wouldn't know. I'm hedging my bets. What I'm doing is I'm turning them in. In the meantime, I'm inviting them to the barbecue and saying how bad the government is. Right?
Oh my God, you are the worst. You are, Steven.
I'm like, how about that, Jor-El? That government really sucks, right? And he's like, "I don't know if I should say that." You're safe with me. Like, don't worry, it's okay. I've already reported you. They're coming in 10 minutes. So you end up where all that going on. And one of the cool things for the overall story is that when they are leaving, Lara says to Cal, "Listen, sonny boy, and listen hard because you seem a little dim. If things go wrong, you come back here, you go in the garage, and you yell out for Sol.
You activate Sol,
And he goes, "Who's Sol?" Sol activated. Like, "Not now, you idiot." Like, later. But also, he's the one who, when he goes in and sees the computers, and he sees that, in fact, they had been making starships. They look a lot like those transports that the rebels have in the Star Wars. They look like Admiral Akbar's in, and they end up, they're
what is that the ship from the New Hope that they originally go for? Is it the Tantive 4?
Actually, yeah, it does look like the one that Princess Leia was in at first. That ends up getting taken down too in the New Hope. So you end up having that. They're smart. They're not going to build anything that looks like Star Trek because they know that's bullshit, Eric. So they're going to go more Star Wars. So he ends up starships. Oh my God. Beep, boop, boop. Because he does. The best too is he's actually yelling to this poor guy is melting. And not like the Wicked Witch. This guy is burning. And Cal goes up, "Hey, give me your codes to the computer. I'm going to tell my mom to come back and burn you more." And
God, please hear.
Now, I'm telling you, at that point, I don't know if I'm still going to give up the codes, but really, I'm just yelling.
You are.
I'm just
you
yelling.
You are giving up the codes.
I'm telling you, at that point,
you would have saw the other guy get burned up, and you're like, "Here, take everything I ever owned in my life."
If they say to me,
can I tell the government on my wife for good keeping?
If they say, "I'll put out the fire," then maybe, and then I'll say, "By the way, that guy's a jerk. He was talking shit on your dad earlier. I'm with you and your dad, but I invited him to the barbecue earlier. He didn't show up. And by the way, my friend he's barbecue himself. He's done." But you end up where he does. I like that he issues the report for, the masses.
The rest of Krypton, yeah.
For their last 10 minutes. I mean, at least maybe it's one of those okay, shit has gone completely wrong. Maybe instead of this, he's got two options. I can do this, or I can play like a Barry Manilow song or something, Copacabana. Throw that out there and let people dance at least to their death. All of a sudden, people are dancing around. Oh no, you gotta make it more misery for, because they can't do anything about it. You're like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna die," and all those jerks that they flew away. But hey,
at this point in time,
nice
we're just
minutes.
building it. Nobody's flown away yet. But the thing is, we can still storm the Capitol. Well, that's the thing is, all the Science Council are already gone at this point. Nobody can get a hold of them. So it does seem like maybe the majority of people who are going to be on the ships are already there.
The only thing you can do is, go and fight burn victims now. That's all that's left.
All right, sign me up.
So they end up going and, they're, "Hey, everybody." And even that, they're like, "Where's Cal?" They find him. They zip back and they're their bikes. At
Speeder
one point
bikes.
earlier, too, and Cal was like, oh, my God, things are going wrong. And he does go and survey the land with the speeder bike and Crypto, but he ends up going back.
Dead plants, dead animals. This kryptonite gas is getting everywhere.
Yeah. So they go in and they're like, hey, by the way, we've been building a ship ourselves. I know you peeked in a couple times, but in the last 2 minutes, it's got really big. And they go, and it is huge. And that's a cool difference as well. And because they say, we need to talk to you. And he's like, I know what we're so. He thinks he's so smart. Dim Kal-El.
Throws the original Superman origin. You plan on sending me on a rocket by myself? No, you little idiot. We built a big old ship for everybody who can fit on here.
Jor-El is his name. They're like, what? I like that they're listening and they're like, the hell is this kid talking about? Like, what an imagination. No, we built a ship for everybody. The best would have been a little more where you would have Laura say, what do you think? I'm an idiot? I build a ship for a baby? I'm getting this, but I'm telling you, I still think that it's going to get shot down by the council as they're trying to get away as well. And he's going to have to jettison in what looks exactly like his normal thing as an escape pod.
It's a weird thing, too, because we know that on our present day, Kal-El is like, late teens, early 20s at this point in time. We know that the past stuff before Krypton explodes is 6 years in the past. So whatever he is there, 12 years old, give that to 18 at that point then, I guess. But he's out and about. When we get back to the only stuff that's in present day in this book outside of Krypton, we go to Smallville to a nursing home where we see this woman who's in her last hours of life. It looks like this elderly woman talks about her son, and the nurses are like, well, it's funny because she keeps asking about her son, but she never had a son. You see her sitting there and she's raising her hand and it's like, Angel, where did you go? And it's like, fly back to me, my sweet angel boy, back to where you belong. And in this background of this whole thing, you see a little picture there where it looks like you have an elderly couple and you have what looks like Kal-El in the middle, but also on her armband it says Martha Kent. So you have this whole thing. The only thing, M. Kent, but the whole thing I'm thinking about, because introducing the Kents at this point in time for this lesser hoped aged up Superman feels weird. So I'm just starting to think of this weird sci-fi stuff where maybe the idea is we do send a rocket out there. We have all the family, all the friends. But when we do this, there's something happens to the ship where they don't have enough cryo sleep, and they can only put Clark in there. So everybody else aged up during this whole thing. So when Clark gets there, he's the only one who's out of age, and everybody else has aged up over the years.
And obviously, it's a good cliffhanger. But the thing is, the weird thing is, when I'm reading it, I'm like, and I didn't even think it. It took me actually then taking a shower, and a little later, I'm like, I think I might be a dummy because I'm like, why are they playing this idea that Martha Kent, she realizes what should have been right and things like that? And I hope it's not that. But what you're saying is it's weird. But what you're saying.
So I'm taking a sci-fi aspect of it just to take it away from what we normally know of main continuity Superman.
The weird play, though, is to me, they seem to know who Martha Kent is. Why wouldn't they have fudged having a son?
With the idea, though, what they come as an elderly couple down after they've traveled all this time from a doomed Krypton to Earth, they take on the guise of the Kents, though. That is their, personas.
So, but do you think that picture's from Earth, then?
Yes.
I'm saying, so if they're going to take the personas of the Kents, why wouldn't they take the persona of Cal is their
Because maybe Cal already left.
You know what I mean, though? But they have a picture, and that looks like it would be from Earth. So it's a weird play. That's the only thing that threw me with that was if you're going to – because I thought the same thing. It must be something like that. But then I'm like, why wouldn't they unless maybe there was trouble? Because he seems to get in trouble. And maybe he had to leave. Maybe there's some government.
Boy.
So he has to go, and he's actually almost like witness protection. He went off with Saul, and they ended up saying, we'll just say we didn't have a son because you're
Or it just wasn't in the records. Or again, it could just be something very, very not cliche, but more standard continuity, where he did come down. He then was living with this elderly couple that saw him as an angel from the skies, and they never actually did have a son.
And that's what I'm saying, and it could have been just.
But there's just so much mystery wrapped around, the L's spaceship, all the people they want to bring with them, and where they are now. So I was just trying to
it was
what
a
are
crazy
the pieces
deal.
that could be?
Like I said, when I first did it, I'm like, oh man, he's doing this thing where she's like, I remember what's supposed to be real. I'm like, boy, that's hokey. And then I start walking around. I think I was taking a shower. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's it. I don't know why I thought that, because then I'm like, it's probably Martha. But again, then I thought, if she's going to fudge the stats, then why wouldn't you fudge them even more?
And again,
just have to add another
it could be
thing.
Nothing that I said at all. That was just on that super
but it's
sci-fi I was going for.
It is intriguing, and we did see
everybody else on the spaceship aged except for Cal.
And we saw but then, do you want to have a lot of aging Kryptonian? And that would be a weird play, too, is once But again, here's weird things in this. It's a little different. You have to remember, obviously, it's different. But when you ended up having Cal even fight, the Lazarus Corporation, they had tech that was from light years away. Like there is definitely, aliens. There's definitely more than there was.
But we also have a Brainiac like working for them, or like as them at this point, because all we know is they're like, oh, it's that Brainiac AI program. He could be, in charge of Lazarus Corp, and nobody knows it.
Even when he says to Lois about that, like she doesn't. When he says, "Oh, my planet," or how she realizes that he had said, like, he's not from Earth, that didn't hit her like it would like an alien in 1950. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So with this, what I was going to say is once one of these Kryptonians die, they might have a little different physiology, and people would go nuts. But I don't know.
This thing is,
this seems
everything that seems to be a Superman-esque, like power-wise, seems to be from the Sol AI, the armor, and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm not saying powers.
I'm saying that the Kryptonians in general just seem to be very humanoid, like they're from Earth.
I think that you could probably in a dissect, like, an autopsy, there has to be some difference with the deal, but maybe not.
And not everybody gets autopsies.
Well, I mean, you die.
Unless there's foul play, really.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a thing. If there's that many people, they're bound to have at least somebody have something go wrong. But yeah, we'll have to see. And again, it doesn't seem like you're that powered naturally by the sun, so you can't have, oh, well, these Kryptonians got here and then they were kind of like, oh, we're older, but now we have these powers and whatnot, more as Sol. But we'll have to see. It's a crazy cliffhanger. I didn't expect it. And some of the things in it are good. I don't know. The Krypton stuff, people are already kind of bored with it. And
not me.
If you did go back to Earth and they made it there, you could have continued some of the lessons there as well, I guess, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it was written well enough, but I kind of think Krypton's going to explode, and I kind of think that whatever, we know that Superman's a guy who stands up for the little people. He's kind of doing the deal. I do mean the Munchkins, and then when he does this, like, he's still that. You know what I mean? He's a little more in tune with the miners, and not the ones that not the ones
Superman
Bibbo
that we know.
like. Yeah, I think he might be. I think that it's more hopeful, but he's more against the government. Seems to be the difference. I don't know, but he might be. I don't think he's that jaded. He just wants to tell his story. He's pretty jaded. I think he just wants to. I'm telling you, he's jaded. Would be like, I don't want to do anything. He's got all these plans. It's just that Krypton ends up blowing up, and he doesn't like to read their words.
He's got plans. Like, I want to do some writings because I like my words, and I'm not good enough at the sports or the sciences.
That's what I'm saying. I think that he's more of like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. He's like,
you ain't going to get a paying job.
Nah. Well, that's again, this is some of the things that went through my mind when I'm like, yeah, you're not setting them up to succeed at all. You're like, do whatever you want, kid. Just fail out of everything.
Follow your heart.
Oh, it's like your one buddy who ends up where his parents had money, and so he's like, I think that I think that I want to be, what was it that one kid, and they bought him all the equipment to do like lawn work and stuff. He's a landscaper. I want to be a landscaper.
He wanted to be a landscaper. He wanted to be a photographer. They keep just buying because they felt bad because he was, a slow guy. So they just kept and after they split up, I think they just really felt bad about it. So they just kept giving him whatever he wanted to try to see what he could succeed at.
Did he ever succeed at anything?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in like 15 years.
That'd be great. Like, you're like, oh yeah, you don't know him? That is Elon Musk. Something like that would be hilarious. But my
slow buddy from South Africa.
I would guess that he probably just decided to just get a regular job at some point.
I doubt it.
Yeah, do you think that he just keeps mooching off his?
I think he still lives at home and just I take pictures for the fire company.
I think that I want to be a TikToker. He's doing twerking dances. He's dancing to Rosé's APT.
There's no way the guy that hangs out at the fire company will be able to do that and get away with it.
You don't think so?
No.
He'd be on a list. But yeah,
he would just be left out of the fire company.
Okay. Oh, you're saying about the fire company. Oh, that's that guy at the fire company. Wasn't there a story involved like kicking people in the balls or something with that guy?
No, that's another guy.
Another slow guy.
Yes.
At the fire company. Oh, my God. I still get crap from Tanya because way back she was going to join the fire company. You said, oh, you got to watch out. There's a lot of sus things that goes on there. And all I did was tell her that. And she claimed that I was trying to come. I get crap for shit. That was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, but you're still bringing it up.
I wasn't. She does. She would keep bringing it up, and I'm like, whatever. I was just telling you what he said because he was in the fire department. I don't know. He's a fireman. That guy.
Sure was.
But in the meantime, it's getting better. I still think that it's decent, but I still think it has a way to go. I want to see Cal doing. I want to see him do more than just going down. Even the mines thing. When in that first issue, he goes down, grabs the diamonds, and somehow the Lazarus Corporation is mad that the job was done well. And so I want to get back to that and expand a little more on Earth.
Well, we know that the Omega Men are coming, but who knows what that means in an absolute universe?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of things that we don't know. But it's okay. But what would you give it?
I like this issue a lot. I think the art is great. I love this stuff on Krypton. And cliffhanger ending, it leaves a lot to mystery and intrigue, and I can't wait to see what that means and where the story goes from here. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I was a 6.5. I'll go up to 7 now that we talked about it. It's kind of a lot of mysteries, but who knows how long they're going to last. Krypton needs to explode next issue, but I have a feeling it won't.
Well, I'm saying it's still we're in the middle of an arc.
Yeah, I'm saying though they're basically everybody's leaving now. They have to go. We're in it. I think that if we get 3 more issues of just hanging on Krypton for the last 10 minutes, that'll be crazy. But we'll see. And we have to see what happens with Crypto. Want to see if that in fact is just an older lady, or if it's an age thing, like you said. That again,
we have no idea. I was just throwing wild speculation out there.
I do want it to be that, and then when they end up finally getting to Earth, they're all pissed off at Lara because she made the ship and she didn't make the cryogenics right, or something like that. And they're like, "You idiot! You're just like your son."
Everybody else then, to make sure that they survive, were put into the Phantom Zone, and that's why all the Phantom Zoners ATLs.
That might be. Oh, that evil Phantom Zone. That would be funny. Now, if you're talking like that, Eric, and they're like, listen, okay, we got to go get the neighbors. You, Cal, go get Zadu. Get him over here. Tell him we're in trouble. We're leaving now.
You mean that asshole with the hay who calls himself the Phantom King?
Yeah, that guy's always saying
he's the hay king now.
Yeah, he always says he's the king or something.
Once he gets in the Phantom Zone, now he's the Phantom King.
He's there at the hay king.
I'm telling you, the thing is,
he stresses Elvis.
The way we start about this, talk about the story like this, though, it almost goes back to what we had in the New 52 with the Emperor Penguin, who, after he left doing the Emperor Penguin stuff, he went to Blackgate. He became Emperor Blackgate.
Yeah, he's just whatever he is. That would be funny. He's like, listen,
Bane killed him.
You get Zadu. I'm going to get Jaxer. Well, we're going to get all of our friends. Let's get them all. Like, oh, no. But again, you did, like you said, you pointed out the thing with Zod. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe the idea that Zod, he might be involved in shooting people down or something. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays. But yeah, that old lady at the end, that threw me for a loop. So we'll see how that is. But thanks everybody for listening. I do want to mention that this will be on YouTube. We were live streaming and my computer just completely froze and then shut down. So that kind of got shut down, 10 minutes early. So if you were watching and you're watching now, thank you for watching it again, because I'm going to put it up as a video. But yeah, it's always something. It always is something. And I don't know. I was so upset because we were having some fun. Things were going. At one point, I did end up where you laughed because I guess you could. I had a little bit of a problem that I was trying to, kind of get. And I thought I had it done. And it was to the resolution of the deal. And I think that's what might have happened. It took too much resources or something off of the deal. And we went too long, but that's that. But this will be up in a video. And if you're listening to it on our feed for the podcast, please, first off, check out our podcast that comes out every Sunday. I hope you already are, but also check us out on YouTube at Weird Science Comics. Eventually we'll get it. And, you could get involved in the chat. And some people were chatting. I did see some people agreeing with me about how they kind of were. One guy, Comic Book Muscle, that I mentioned him to you before, he said, I think what he said was he was reading it at one point and he just had to put it down because the elves were so bad. Parents. He's like, I don't go for this. But there was a guy right before it shut down. And it was actually, I ended up seeing these because the screen froze on that, because right before it happened, I went to check. Something was weird. I went to check. So I saw the chat. Some guy really likes the interaction with the elves and, the father, Jor-El, Lara, and Cal. That's cool. And again, everybody can like what they want. Just because I gave it a little lower score, I'm still enjoying it. Don't attack me. Don't just sit there and start yelling, CBR said this, and this guy said that, and your neighbor said this. That's their opinion, and this is mine. Yeah. Your opinion is just as good as anybody else's, so whatever. But yeah, that Wonder Woman, people are defending it. They're on the wall for that one. I'm like, I said to the guy, even by the end of that, we were like, we really like this. We just want a little more story. We want the story to progress a little. And they didn't like that. Right? They thought we were nonsense. So, oh well. But that is that. But I'm getting used to everybody just hating me on YouTube. I got to bail. Bail off that. You know, it's just, and it's not even just reading the comments. I'm watching videos that have nothing to do with me, and there are people talking trash on me. That really blindsided me. I'm just reading. Oh, what if people like? Oh, they don't like me. It was very odd. So that threw me today. I was a bit down in the dumps, as the sorrow ladder would be. Yeah, I was. I ended up where just the idea, like if you went on a video and you're just watching a video and suddenly it's like, you know who's an asshole? Eric Shea from Weird Science. You might be like, why would you say that here? Like what? It has nothing to do with that. It was very odd. But that is that. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody who was watching the live stream until it went down. And hopefully, we get these things ironed out. I'm going to try some other software, I think, but we'll do that. But what do we say at the end of the Absolute Weird Science podcast, Eric?
We're closing the Omega Portal, and until next time, keep it absolutely weird.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.